Hey you guys, welcome back to the channel. I am doing this one live because I feel very passionately about today's topic. So I'm excited to be here. I also wanted to be able to answer your questions live as well. So for those of you who don't know me, thanks for bearing with me while I get my screen going here. My name is Katherine. I'm a USA Today best-selling fantasy author and editor and pitch coach and book reviewer. And we're going to be talking about some real life pros and cons of being a book reviewer for Reedsy Discovery, specifically things you need to consider about before you sign up for them, why you would want to work with them, what doing reviews for them is like, and all of that good stuff. So I have put together some pros, some cons, and then built in a little time for any questions in case there are any. So I have been on Reedsy Discovery for several years now. I was actually a Reedsy Discovery reviewer. Let's see, I want to say before The Violet Twisted Fate came out. It's been a really long time. And you guys know that I'm never really an affiliate for much of anything because I believe in unbiased, honest reviews. I have met so many amazing authors through Reedsy Discovery and reviewed so many great books that I actually did sign up to be an affiliate with them. So if after the video, don't do it yet, if after the video you feel that there's enough pros in here to make this worth doing for you and it's a good fit for you, the link in the description box is an affiliate link. It will give you $25 for signing up and doing a Google or Reedsy review. It's one of the only times you're going to get paid for a review on Reedsy, and I will get compensated as well. So check that out if it feels like a good fit at the end of the video, but only if it's a good fit. So with that, let's dive in and see how you know if it's a good fit or not. So why would we be talking about reviews? Well, specifically, most of us are going to be looking for helpful ways to review indie books because we are indie authors ourselves, or we love the indie book scene. We love the creativity that comes out in indie books that we just don't get in the trad published side. We want people to hear about all these unknown authors so that we can see them really explode and have the success that we've seen with so many fantastic indie books like Legends and Lattes or Lore Olympus, right? We want to see them take off, and we know how valuable our reviews are for readers. So your first gut instinct then might be, should I just be reviewing on Amazon? It's free. It takes little to no time. It can be just one sentence things. Well, there's a yes and no answer to this. If you're just a reader, you're not a writer, 100%, please leave a review, an honest one. It doesn't have to be a good one, just an honest review on the retailer that you purchased the book from, because that does help the author more than I can say. But if you're another writer who also likes to review, we now have some things to consider. And I posted on my channel a video updating Amazon KDP's 2025 book review guidelines that you should go take a look at and draw your own conclusions, because I take this year's update to the guidelines to mean that authors may not necessarily be able to review each other's books anymore now that there's a clause in there about not leaving book reviews for competitors. So you have to read those terms for yourself. I pulled them up in that video so that you can actually read them from Amazon's site. But if you end up taking the same stance I have, that now limits the ability to just go to a retailer and post a review and that be your helpful review. And we have to be creative and come up with other places, other avenues with which we can boost these reviews. The link to that video is in my Indie Author Behind the Scenes playlist if you'd like to watch it in full. So some options that don't require us to break terms of service on KDP that are still free if you're looking for that as another author wanting to help each other. BookBub is my #1 favorite spot to go put books on my wish list, because as a reader, if a book that I'm really enjoying, really wanting to buy, looking forward to reading, goes on sale, I get a free alert and it costs the author nothing. And so you can do book reviews there. You can leave book reviews on Goodreads. You can go do a booktube like Andrew's Wizardly Reads. You can start a book blog like Fantasy Book Critic. There are so many good free outlets that vary in commitment depending on your time. So where Reedsy Discovery falls into all of this is it is sort of an editorial style review service where there are vetted reviewers who have to send in a sample review slash application up front, and then Reedsy vets them, and then they put those reviewers in a pool, and those reviewers get to pick books that fit their interests, that books that they like, and get to read them and review them and put them in the system for upvotes and visibility and all of that good stuff. So we're going to break down the core pros and cons of this today. I'll try to keep this as simple and time effective as possible because I know we're all busy people. First things first, the biggest pro as an author wanting to help other authors is that Reedsy Discovery lets you build a platform. I have almost 10,000 followers now. I am literally shocked. I didn't realize how high this number was until I started re-upping my YouTube channel. The fact that this has grown to 9,835 followers as of July 25th, 2025 is just stunning. And these followers are following you not just because they value your reviews and they want to see what you're reading and they want to pick up reads because they agree with your opinion and they trust your opinion, but you also get to post about your own books from time to time. So as an author, getting to post, hey, I have a book coming out, that's a built-in audience that is getting great books to read while I don't have anything going, and then an occasional 2 or 3 times a year reminder that I also have books. So this is a great, great platform. I love it. I'm so appreciative to be here with the Reedsy community. So this is a way to build a platform for yourself. Now, the con to this, though, and part of building this platform is Reedsy is an upvote-focused service. Upvotes determine the success, not just of the reviewer, but of the book you're reviewing. So you can have a 5-star book. Like I did this one for Ember in the Mist, which was brilliant. And it got 16 upvotes and it got featured on the Reedsy Discovery main page. And that means I believe it also went out in the Reedsy email to people who like this genre and are subscribed to the Reedsy email letter. So the book got a boost, the author got a boost, and I, as the reviewer, got a boost because of this upvote system. So how is that a con, you may ask? Well, if you don't have as much visibility on the front end starting out, it can be a little difficult to build that kind of momentum. And honestly, you're sort of relying on the author boosting to their community to get those upvotes in on the first few things. Once your name starts to pop up on the reviewer, there's a reviewer leaderboard in Reedsy Discovery, and then you start getting picked by newer authors. You get to review more books. Now, you can pick up a book without being picked by the author, but you get more direct submissions that way when your name is up on that leaderboard. Once I started hitting the top reviewer status on Reedsy Discovery, my inbox got way busier to the point where I actually had to close submissions off because I had more than I could take. But if you're not comfortable knowing that there's this upvote side to Reedsy Discovery, it might be awkward. Now, another pro, and this is one of my biggest pros, is that honest reviews are essential on this platform. I've screenshotted directly from Reedsy Discovery site as of today, which is July 25th, 2025, what their rating system is. And essentially 5 stars means it's a must read. It's an exceptional book. I cannot stop talking about this book. 4 stars is I loved it. This was a great book. I'd recommend it to readers. Certain aspects keep it from getting a 5, but it's a great book. 3 stars is what the majority of book reviews are on Reedsy Discovery. This is worth reading. This is a good book. I would recommend it to certain groups of readers. It wasn't exceptional. It didn't blow it out of the bag, but it meant everything that I would be looking for with maybe only a couple things that could have been better. A 2-star means it's not for me. I personally didn't enjoy this book. There were some positive aspects about the book, but it was lacking in several areas and I couldn't give it a 3. And then a 1-star means skip it. It's got major issues, editorial issues, plot issues, character issues, and you don't want to read it. Now, Reedsy puts what they expect to see from reviewers here. Now, they don't force you to follow this grid 100%, okay? But they expect 40% of the reviews you leave, so almost half, to be 3-star reviews. Only 5% of the reviews you give, they expect to be 5-star reviews. And then 25% to be your 4 stars, 25% to be your 2 stars, and 5% to be your 1 stars. The first couple of years that I was on Reedsy Discovery, I left less than 15 total 5-star reviews out of all the books that I read, and I have done a lot of Reedsy Discovery reviews, you guys. I have not left a lot of 5 stars. It is very difficult because I'm a developmental editor, which means I always objectively find ways things could be better to a degree for me to say this book is 100% perfect as is with 0 changes. But I'm not against giving 5 stars for the premise of it. Like, it's not about the principle. It's just about I have to be blown away. And that is something that is very difficult to achieve. The majority of my books are in this 3-star rating. Some are in 4. That's probably my second most, followed by 2s and then 5s and then 1s. So this sort of scale is what you're looking for. Now, there was a time where I got a whole bunch of reviews because I picked books that looked really good, and they did turn out to be good, that were positive. And I got an email from Reedsy Discovery actually saying, hey, we just wanted to make sure you knew, that we're okay with you being honest. We want you to be honest. I didn't get my hand slapped. I didn't get in trouble, but I got a reminder that we've noticed you've been putting out a lot of 5-star reviews lately. They don't want you putting out 5-star reviews just for the sake of it. Now, the flip side to this, if you are an indie author, is that when an indie author leaves another indie author a review that is not a 5-star, it can raise eyebrows. So honest reviews might raise eyebrows from both readers and other authors in the community. There comes a point where your reputation for your honest reviews outweighs the skepticism. They see how many people follow you. They can read your reviews for themselves. They can agree with the objectivity of your review, and then they come around and they move on with their life. But that's always going to be there in the background. So if you're a reader who's not a writer, go for it. You have nothing to lose here. If you're a writer who feels a little ick giving honest reviews to books that don't really need that 5-star, then you might want to ask, do I want to set myself up to have to be honest, even if it raises eyebrows from peers or readers? Because what you don't want to do is look like you're knocking somebody else's book just because they're your competition. That really is ick. And I do not support that in any way. I feel like that is awful. It's just, you should not give somebody else a bad review just because they're your competition. But on Reedsy Discovery, they want honesty. And I am okay being honest. I'm a developmental editor first, author second. And that editor side of me is always going to trump out. It doesn't help the author grow, and it doesn't set them up for success. It sets them up for bad reader reviews if readers go in with false expectations. So I try to keep that in mind. So with that being said, you need to consider that consistently posting honest reviews can boost your credibility as a person. And that's also going to affect how they perceive your books, because they know I am an honest, a blunt reviewer. I try to be kind about things that are not great and put it in very objectively and separate my personal feelings from the book. I try not to bring personal values into how I judge the value of a book itself and be objective and look at it like an editor. But if you consistently boost, honestly, your readers are going to trust you. They're going to come back. And that's the reason you build this platform, because they trust that your reviews are accurate. All right. Getting into some other pros here. One of the biggest pros for me was that reviewers here are not paid, period. Readers are going to pay Reedsy, or not readers, authors are going to pay Reedsy Discovery. That's the con we're going to get to on the very next slide. But none of it, not a cent, goes to their reviewer. We don't get paid for reviewing your books. I love it because that puts us in compliance with policies like this one from Amazon, which I screenshotted from their terms of service today. You may provide free or discounted copies of your book to readers as long as you do not require a review in exchange or attempt to influence the review. Offering anything other than a free or discounted copy of the book, including gift cards, will invalidate a review. So if I am not paid for my review, then I meet this guideline and the author is safe to have that review up on more places besides just Reedsy Discovery. Now, on the other side of that, Reedsy Discovery has expenses. They host, that means they put these books up on their website permanently, and they will charge you for this review. So if you're the kind of person who doesn't like authors paying anything ever for reviews, and that makes you, then this may not be a good fit for you. I am okay with knowing that an author is going to pay for an editorial review because that is the industry norm. It's just how things are. Not all of the reviewers on Reedsy Discovery are editors, so they don't claim these to be editorial reviews. I am personally an editor, but not all of us are. So vet, if you can, who you submit your book to as a request, knowing as well that they may not be the one that takes it because they get to choose whether or not to accept your review. They also get to put your book out in this pool if the person you requested doesn't accept it, and then somebody else get it. So the quality of review you will get is typically going to be pretty good. They do vet reviewers very thoroughly, but there's always a slight chance that you might not get the reviewer you wanted and that you may not get the review you were anticipating. And because it's that honest review, you may be paying for a review that isn't 5 stars. I would say 5 times out of 100, your books are going to not get a 5-star on Reedsy Discovery. So if you go in with that in mind, that your authors are going to be paying that and brace yourself for that, then it's a little easier to think about going forward. So I have personally paid for editorial reviews from a couple other editorial companies for my books that were hundreds of dollars, and this fee is minimal for that. And the reviews that I got were fantastic. So I have purchased reviews here as an author, and then I've also been a reviewer myself. All right. Something to keep in mind, and I didn't put this one as a pro or a con because I don't know how people are going to feel about it, is whether or not you're on board with tip culture. Tip culture, I know, is this big thing in the US, maybe not as much in other places. When it comes to book reviews, is highly controversial, and chances are high, if you're watching this, that you fall on one or other side of the line, and not very many people are in the gray. This means that as a reader, the reader reads the review. It said, that review is so helpful. I bought this book and I ended up loving it, and I'm going to come back and tip the reviewer who told me to get this book. This could be a way for reviewers to make small change. I have made next to nothing on tips at Reedsy Discovery. Don't quit your day job for this, you guys. This is also not intended to be used by the author. The author should not be paying for their reviews for reasons like the guidelines we just talked about. So if you feel iffy on accepting tips, this is something to really consider, think about for yourself. And you should not go into this expecting authors to tip you, because that is not how this works at Reedsy. You should not be requesting compensation. You should not be messaging authors going, I left you a great review and I'd appreciate a tip if you had appreciated my time. Like, you shouldn't also be disappointed if they don't tip you, because they're not supposed to tip you. The readers are supposed to tip you. So that's just an insight on how the tipping culture works here. All right. I'm getting down to my last couple pros and cons here. Pro, there is a huge volume of books on Reedsy Discovery at any given time, almost 300 or so, I would say, from a day-to-day basis, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. And within your genre, you usually have several dozen to choose between. So I put fantasy in tonight, and there were 40 that were waiting for reviewers to pick them up tonight. That means you can read to your little reviewer heart's content. Now, the con to that, though, is Reedsy Discovery does not vet the books that they put into this pool for you to pick up as a reviewer. So the quality of the book you get is completely random. I have seen books that looked like they should not be out at all, that still had the track changes and inline comments from their editors in them, and they didn't even take it out before they put it in PDF or EPUB. I have had books that blew my mind and made me cry that I went on to buy physical copies of. I'm looking around to see if I have one sitting next to me, and I don't. I have had books that changed my life as a reader come up in here, and you are going to get this big grab bag of quality. So the pro on the review side, what you should expect going into this is Reedsy Discovery is going to vet you. And they're going to be strict about it. They have a list of guidelines that's available on their site. This is just a snippet of it here, but they have this list of guidelines of what you should expect in the application process and that you need to write this review. And they have a YouTube or BookTube version for people that want to do video reviews. And this process is really important because if a reader is paying a company for an editorial review, even though us reviewers are not getting paid, if they're paying this company, this vetting service is part of what they are paying for, and it legitimizes our reviews, and it gives the authors that comfort and sense of mind that their book is being read by someone who knows what the heck they're doing, right? So this is going to be an in-depth process. Do not expect, if you sign up after this video today, to sign up and then immediately start reviewing books tonight. It's going to be a little bit of a process, and you might get a couple emails, so watch your emails and reply to them. The con, because of this vetting process, means this isn't a review platform like BookBub or Goodreads or YouTube, where you can make a BookTube channel or a book blog that you start on your own website that anybody can do, because they are looking for objective, open-minded reviews. They're looking for very specific things when they pick up reviewers. I have heard people that tried to get in that got turned away. I've also heard somebody tell me that they did get in and they are reviewing books now and they're doing a great job at it. Mostly it's the style of your review that they are going to weigh whether or not they're going to take. So practice the review and then look over the summary here. So in summary, Reedsy Discovery reviewing may be a good fit for you if you are a detailed, open-minded, objective reviewer. Those seem to be the traits that get applicants through this process the most. Reedsy Discovery values honest reviews, and they aren't really looking for your personal input as much, unlike I hate enemy sliver, as they are just an objective view, because they're trying to connect readers with books they're going to love. So if you're a detailed, open-minded, and objective reviewer, could be for you. If you have the capability of meeting a firm deadline when you're reading, because not meeting it is going to have consequences. The author's book is not going to get that boost. Your upvotes are not going to get the boost. You could end up getting emails and lose your reviewer account. Then this could be for you. If you aren't looking to be paid, you want to make sure your reviews are compliant with those, I didn't get paid in exchange for this review thing, then this could be for you. If you want to build a platform of readers for your specific genre and grow your authority as a book reviewer at the same time, this is great, fellow authors. But it is going to take time, and you are going to have to get in that mindset shift of being honest with your reviews. And then if authors having to pay for an editorial style review from Reedsy Discovery, even though you never get a penny of that money, if that bothers you, you don't want to do this. If it doesn't bother you and hey, they'd be paying hundreds of dollars to Kirkus and we're giving them a vetted professional review, whether we're editors or not, through Reedsy, and getting that permanent hosting and all of that stuff, and that's what they're paying for, that's why we reviewers don't get any of it, then you're good to go. Now, I'm going to take my face off so you can read the whole thing here. If you are not the kind of person who likes to give 5-star reviews, or you're the kind of person who only gives 5-star reviews, you die a little inside giving someone a 3 or 4, even if they deserve it, because you're just too nice, this is not the platform for you. You have to be objective. You can't never give someone a 5-star just because of the principle of it. You've got to be able to just be honest and say, based on the industry standards for this genre, this meets, exceeds, or blows away the expectations, right? If detailed feedback isn't your thing, then this is probably not the review platform for you. So if you're the kind of person who would rather just go, this was a great book, head on over to Goodreads or BookBub, go to your personal stuff and post it there. If there's a lot of topics that you feel very strongly about not reading within your genre, we're not talking about a lot of genres. I only read fantasy and sci-fi for the most part, but within those, if there's a whole bunch of things you don't like, you might find Reedsy Discovery to be too restrictive for what you're hoping to read as a reviewer. If you only want to read polished books that are perfect and ready to go out in the world, based on my personal experience, I would also say stay away, because it's a very high chance that you're going to get some really rough books in your submissions at some point. If you're looking for a paying gig as a book reviewer, this is not it. The tip culture here is from readers to reviewers, not from authors. And you are not going to get paid by the authors. You're not going to get paid by Reedsy Discovery. And you're not going to get very many tips. So don't quit your day job for this. If you're not about upvoting culture as well, then this may not be for you. But if you're any of these things over here on this slide, these are really the kinds of people that I think would benefit from Reedsy Discovery. Now, I don't work for Reedsy. I am just a reviewer and an author. So all the things I'm sharing today are my personal experience. Please do your research before signing up to be a reviewer somewhere, before asking authors in your life to pay for book reviews somewhere. If you would like to sign up for Reedsy Discovery and consider doing that application process, there is a link in the description box, and I'm going to put it up here. Reedsy Reviewer link, and they will give you $25 for your first completed review through this link. And as I said at the beginning, that may be the only time you ever get a payment for Reedsy Discovery. I mean, they do some promos from time to time, like do this many book reviews and you get a bonus, but they're not very, very frequent. So I wouldn't expect it a whole lot. But let me know, if you have been reviewing books on Reedsy Discovery, what has been your personal pros and cons? If you have questions about what it's been like being a Reedsy reviewer, I will be happy to answer those for you. You can leave them for me on the video. And if you're an author just wanting to get a review, right, and you found this interesting, I have a separate video for you in my Indie Author Behind the Scenes playlist that says what authors need to know about getting a review from Reedsy Discovery. So that way you go in with your eyes open on what to expect, what you'll be getting, and things like that. Best of luck, everybody. Have a great evening. Bye, all.